Hello guys, it's me, Creepypasta reader number 485, and today I have a creepypasta that's very scary and very haunting. The name is The Cursed Plug and Play Console. Oh, it has two chapters. Chapter 1, The Uprising, and Chapter 2, the End of the Uprising. And there might be a lot of background noise, and I hope you mind. I'm gonna start with chapter 1. Last week, I visited the grocery store to buy some grocery, and then I wanted to buy the new Smash game for my nephew, when I saw something somewhat intriguing. I found a plug-and-play toy, the Pro Game Awesome System 666 games in one, but the box it came with had two dead children, one boy who was lying on his stomach, with all of his digestive and respiratory and renal organs placed on his back. The second child, however, is a girl whose back is against the wall and she is just a torso and a head. Her right leg was shoved down her pharynx, while the other three limbs were nowhere to be found. I was perplexed.
Fuck?
I asked myself, why does this store have this in store? I then also picked up the new Smash game for my nephew, and I went to the cash point and asked the clerk, why do you have this? And the clerk replied, oh no, we don't have this in stock, but you can take it for free. I then showed them my gratitude and went to my car with my groceries and console and game. I, for some reason, unknown reason, put the plug-and-play console in the front passenger seat. While I was driving, I heard whispers to my right. I then glanced and saw that the box was covered in large quantities of blood. I ignored it because Lee thought Lee was hallucinating. When I was in the parking lot of my neighborhood, Lee got out of the car and attempted to pick up the box, but Lee received an indirect shock. I tried again, but I got electrocuted. I woke up 20 minutes later to pick up the box and it worked. I closed the car door and forgot all the other groceries I purchased in the hot car. I don't know, I think I was too devoted to this fucking toy. I got home and I tried to set up the console to the TV, but when I did, the TV got fried and broke down. I spent $1,980 on that damn TV. I went to the basement and I brought my old dusty TV from 1956. I hooked up the TV to an outlet and then hooked up the console to the TV and it worked. The music played was fucking awful. Though all it played was a weird buzzing sound that almost gave me a migraine. The title screen was very not good and creepy. It was the two children in the title screen, but they are overly pixelated, and the name of the console is written in blood and 666 is everywhere. It told me to press enter, and so I did. The first thing I saw was that the name for the categories was crossed out with blood. The only thing that wasn't crossed out was the classroom category. I selected it and the female narrator said the word classroom, but in a very low-pitched and distorted voice to the extremity where I could barely make out what she said. There was three things to choose from. There was music, paint, and more. I clicked on music first and the loading screen was weird. The loading screen is a real picture of a moldy and infected mouth of a dead man. The mouth looked disgusting because of salivation. The red and grotesque salivary glands that were visible secreted bloody saliva. The Tungush had way too many molds to count. There were only 7 teeth, but they look eradicated. It's like the man hasn't brushed his teeth for a millennium. Leninium. His tonsils were missing and his uvula was sliced off, and there was a gunshot on mouth roof. The loading screen took 8 minutes to end, and it brought me to the music program. The visuals looked excessively corrupt, where I couldn't select anything. The only that was visible was the saved music option. I clicked on it and I found one saved music. The file was named afraid.wav. I hear it and it was very loud. The music was a very tumultuous song played on a piano. Then silence then silence filled the half a century old speakers. 11 seconds later, a tremendously loud noise was heard. My ears couldn't handle the torture they had to sustain, so I had to exit the music program. The female narrator came back, but she said something different. She said, "Behind you." I looked behind me and saw absolutely nothing. I chose the paint program, but the loading screen this time is different. It was a picture of a musty and raw digestive system. The mouth looked the same as the first loading screen. The pharynx and the esophagus looked like it has numerous amounts of cuts. It's like someone swallowed 10 million shards of glass for dinner. The stomach was green and moldy, and it was also bleeding. The liver had a lot of black spots on it. It's like if cockroaches infested the liver. Also, bile and blood were covering the liver too. This is way too much detail that no one wants to know. The gallbladder bruised, which explains that the liver was covered in bile. The intestines looked the worst. Thorough. The jejunum was all over the place. It's like a surgeon was fiddling around with it. The colon, though, was covered in blood, mold, bile, and feces. The paint program stopped loading, and it looked surprisingly normal. I drew a cute picture of a cat face. I noticed that the save files option was flashing, so I clicked on it again. There was also one save file and it was called readme.png. But I swear to everything that is holy, I saw it say saveme.png. What the fuck? I also ignored it and assumed I was hallucinating. I clicked on it and I saw something terrible. I saw the word "die" crudely written in blood red color. I clicked off the picture and everything was distorted. The cat face that I drew was smiling at me with a bloody and sharp smile. Its eyes were bloodshot red, and the picture also had random dots and lines, and the word "hope" also drawn in blood red. Drawn in blood red. It looked like somebody or something added on to my drawing while I was being distracted by the readme.png picture. Really? Wow, I couldn't have thought. And through all the distortion, I also noticed that the icons for the tools were also modified. No, they're just modified. No need for details. All the color options are only blood red. Some icons were replaced by a bloodshot eye, and here's the details. An arm spraying out blood and much more. The program instantaneously goes by itself. You can spell instantaneously, but not cross. Okay. This whole situation has been a fucked up roller coaster. There was the more option. I didn't want to click it, but I somehow felt like I was forced to. So I clicked it. There were only 2 pieces of content in store for me to check out. One is named classroom.png and the other named seclusion.avi. Of course, I had to choose the .png file because it's the easier one to go through. I clicked on it and what I saw was the most repellent, nauseating, unsavory, unappetizing, uninviting, unpalatable, distasteful, nasty, foul, odious, stomach turning, the stomach churning thing I've ever seen in my entire existence. It was a classroom filled with desks. The desks were occupied by children that had been rotted and dismembered in the worst possible ways. I went to vomit, and so I did. What I vomited out concerned. What I vomited out was a fish-shaped yellow substance that was rotting inside my stomach. And I also puked up enormous quantities of blood. I ignored it and assumed I was hallucinating, so I flushed the toilet and went back to the game. But when I went back to the living room, I noticed that all my furniture was gone and blood was splattered on the floor, walls, and even on the fucking ceiling. The fucking ceiling, bro. And the only things that remained were the TV and the console. And the place looked uninviting and unlively. Well, I guess you could say that SoundCloud White isn't living room anymore. I'm laughing so hard. Anyways, terrible puns aside, when I looked back at the TV, I noticed that the girl occupying the desk in the second column from the first row disappeared and is no longer there. Her lifeless body was replaced by a clown that is directly looking at me with a murderous smile and psychotic eyes. He made me feel uncomfortable. So I tried to exit the picture, but it wouldn't work. It wouldn't work, sorry. I realized the clown eyes were following me, but I ignored it and I assumed I was hallucinating. I tried to turn off the console, but that didn't work either. So I removed the TV plug from the outlet, but unfortunately, that also didn't work. I looked back at the screen and the clown was literally standing in front of the camera with the same face, and he laughed when then the picture closed by itself. There I was, standing on the cold hard ground, my controller, wondering to myself, what the fuck is happening? There's only one more file for me to check out. I presume that I'll get some answers. I clicked "Oh, the file," and the real video played. I remember the video vividly, although it was immensely poor in quality, but it sure still got a reaction out of me. It was about the girl that was replaced by the clown in the previous file. She was waking up in. Okay, I'll continue later.